There's one character in Poppy Playtime that almost no one fully understands, and that character is Giblet. At first glance, he seems hopeful, maybe even kind, but at the same time, he constantly doubts himself, repeating that he's not a hero. And when he finally meets the player, he's genuinely surprised, calling them the one they've been talking about. But here's the thing, Giblet doesn't just follow orders, he openly resists the prototype. He clearly cares about Poppy, he admires her, protects her, but everything changes when he learns about her plan to destroy the factory's foundation just to eliminate the prototype. That's when he starts to question her. In fact, he believes that being trapped for so long might have driven her insane. And before she gets taken by the prototype in Chapter 5, he quietly puts a piece of her broken face into his pocket, almost like a memory, or maybe a goodbye. But to understand Giblet, we need to go back to the beginning. Back when Playtime Company was still active, Giblet wasn't always like this. He was originally created as a protector for children. Later, an experimental version of him was introduced, one that had a connection to Poppy long before the events of the Hour of Joy. And after the Hour of Joy, things got darker. At one point, Giblet had several human survivors in captivity. Another toy, Bobby Bearhug, told him to kill them, but Giblet refused. He believed they weren't a threat, just warehouse workers who knew nothing about the experiments. But then, the prototype stepped in and forced Giblet to execute them, even though he clearly didn't want to. That moment likely changed everything, because soon after that, Giblet began to resist the prototype. He started forming a resistance, together with Doughy the Doughman and Poppy. But even that alliance didn't last. Giblet and Doughy eventually split apart. Giblet believed the recycling center was safe, but Doughy thought there was a better place, a rumored safe haven somewhere above. And then, Poppy disappeared. Not long after that, it's believed the prototype captured Giblet and punished him, turning him inside out, just like the Automals. Even then, Giblet didn't give up. He later teamed up with Chum Chompkins, who agreed to act as a spy inside the prototype's ranks, waiting for the right moment to strike. And then something unexpected happens. Giblet starts hearing stories about a former employee, someone who returned to the factory and started hunting down the experiments, weakening the prototype's forces. They called this person the Playtime Butcher. Eventually, Giblet meets this person, the player. He even saves them from an Automal, and at that moment, he realizes something. This is their chance. He brings the player to his hideout, helps them recover a grab pack, explains the plan, tells them to find data in engineering. Everything is finally moving forward. But then, everything goes wrong. The prototype appears. Giblet is forced to run, to hide. Later, he reunites with the player, Poppy, and Kissy Missy near the tram station. He helps get the tram running while the others confront the prototype. Then comes one of the most intense moments. As the tram is about to crash, Giblet shouts, "Lose the spider and jump!" The crash doesn't stop the prototype. He survives. He attacks. He takes Poppy.
You're almost at the end of the line, Butcher! Lose the spider and jump!
But Giblet still manages to save the player. Using his cane, he brings them back, leads them to a server room, where a data backup might finally give them a chance to stop the prototype. But here's where things get even more interesting, because everything we've talked about so far might not be the full truth. There are theories. For example, it's believed that Giblet might actually be toy number 2 from a security tape in Chapter 4. They sound the same, they're both allies of Doughy, and both have an injured leg. Another theory suggests that the prototype experimented on Giblet. His fur is turned inside out, just like the Automals, and his cardboard version is colored red, just like them. There's also a possibility that Giblet is actually a critter, maybe a smiling critter or even a nightmare critter, because everything about him matches what we know about inverted experiments. And if that's true, he might have even been a replacement for Catnap after the recall. But here's my personal theory, and this is where everything connects. I don't just think it, I'm almost certain. That Giblet was once a human, a former employee of Playtime Company, because he knows the factory too well, not like a toy, like someone who worked there. And his connection to Poppy feels deeper than just loyalty. What if they knew each other before? What if they were close, before everything went wrong? He also talks about Doey in a very specific way, like he understood him, like he always knew that one personality would eventually take over. And then there's Poppy. Giblet believes she might have gone insane, and if that's true, then maybe she's not the hero we think she is. So here's what I think. In the next chapter, when Poppy finally shows her true side, Giblet might turn against her, not out of hate, but because he understands what she's become. And instead of helping her, he might be the one who tries to stop her. What do you think about Giblet? Let me know in the comments.